Hello everyone! Welcome to what seems to be one of the most controversial topics of late. Xbox One or PlayStation 4. Now before I continue with my thoughts about each console and what was told to us at E3 this year, let me give you a little bit of a backstory about me and my gaming history. I started out being very young. We had a Nintendo 64. And I had played games mostly like WWE, or as it was called then, WWF, wrestling games, on the 64, and I loved it. Really started my interest with gaming. Later on, we got a Sega Genesis. And while that's a little bit of a downgrade, the games were still fun, and I really loved it, and it really got me started playing games. One Christmas, my brother and I were given a PlayStation. Not PlayStation 2, not PlayStation 3, the PlayStation itself, the very first one. The one that Nintendo canceled and Sony still said, you know what, we're still making this, we're going to push it out there. And the PlayStation was great. One of my favorite games for it was Scooby-Doo. And quite frankly, I don't think I'll ever forget that game. It was the game that started me off. The other ones sparked my interest, but this one really started the flame that has grown into me being not a gamer per se, but I do really love games and I play them a lot. Later on, we got a PlayStation 2 and Star Wars Battlefront. Games like that were my favorite then. And then we also had a Wii, and my favorite game for the Wii was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I also, during this time, had a Nintendo DS. This Nintendo DS was basically just my Pokemon game machine, as I don't really remember playing anything else but Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon anything. You can say I was a little bit of, and still am a little bit of, a Pokemaniac. The newest console that I have, being when I got it, was the Xbox 360, which my grandfather got me and my brother for Christmas one year. And that game console is still, to this day, my favorite console, bar none. It's just awesome. Now keep in mind, I don't have a PlayStation 3, I don't have a Wii U, I don't have a 3DS. But it is still my favorite, and I think even if I were to get all of the top ones, Xbox would be right there. Just because of the games it has, like Halo and Forza and other exclusives that I really love. And now that I'm done giving my backstory, at least a very brief one, let's continue on to this year's E3 conference. Microsoft was up first. They kind of started everything with the Xbox One conference. Now, they announced really good games. Top of them are Rise, Son of Rome, and Titanfall. Two great, amazing games that I am super psyched for. They also announced quite a few other games, such as Minecraft, but they didn't really focus on anything but games, and that was great, as many people were complaining that they weren't talking about games enough at their Xbox reveal. And I'll agree, they really didn't. But at this year's E3, that was all they talked about. Games, games, and more games. Sony's conference closed out the same day with a bang. Really? They started out really slow. Sony then got to talking about games, and it was really exciting. They announced a couple exclusives, but mostly they announced games that they had extra exclusive content for, such as Watch Dogs, which is really high up for my top game. Aside from games though, both consoles are offering extras, such as TV for the Xbox mostly, such as Hulu, such as Netflix, such as other apps like that. Quite frankly, I just think Xbox is going to blow PlayStation out of the water with that, because quite frankly Xbox is focused more on it, and PlayStation, it's just an extra to them, as far as we know. So, for the extras, I think Xbox has the upper hand. And for exclusives, Microsoft announced quite a few really awesome exclusives, such as Rise and Titanfall, as I've already named. They also kind of previewed that they're going to have another Halo, which is really exciting, and they also had Forza and some other good games that I'm really looking forward to. Sony really didn't announce too many exclusives, and because of that, I'm going to have to give Xbox One the victory for game exclusives as well in this battle. For used game DRM policy and always on policies, you've got to give the upper hand to Sony. Microsoft has already announced that they're going to have tougher restrictions for used games. They're going to give publishers the choice about used games, and they're also going to require a 24-hour online internet service check. Otherwise, even playing offline is not possible with the Xbox One. And that really got me riled up. It got a lot of other people riled up. But you gotta think, most people that are going out to buy a $500 console are going to have internet, and if they're ripping off games, they deserve to be hurt by that. But most people will have internet and they will be able to play. However, it's still just the convenience thing. I don't want that. I want to have more convenience. Now, Sony announced they will not have any new restrictions for used games. They kind of stretch the truth there though, because I also heard that they will be allowing publishers to decide about the DRM, about used games and how it will work. They also announced that they will not require an online check every 24 hours. I don't know what they might have instead, but I'm sure they have something that they're just kind of hiding right now, trying to get those jabs in at Microsoft. But again, I've got to give this policy thing to Sony. And the last thing I'm going to compare between these two consoles is very clear who the winner is, because it's price. Xbox One is, so far as we know, slightly less powerful than the PlayStation 4. The Xbox One costs $500 and the PlayStation 4 costs $400. Don't get me wrong, $100 might not be a huge amount to some people, but it's a huge amount to me, and it still tells me that Sony having the more powerful console and the cheaper price over the Xbox One kind of tells me Sony has to win this battle. Now, putting everything together, because Xbox One won 2 of my 4 categories and PlayStation won 2 others, it's almost a deadlock. But because these are gaming consoles, and I'm going to only basically be playing them for games, because I have my laptop, I have an iPod Touch, I have a phone, for everything outside of gaming, I think I have to give the upper hand, very slightly, to the Xbox One, because it has more exclusives that have been announced, and quite frankly, it just sounds like the exclusives are better for me. I'm much more excited about the Xbox One exclusives than I am about the PlayStation exclusives, namely Rise and Titanfall, which are the top 2 for my most anticipated games this year. But what about you? What console are you more excited about? Which console will you more likely buy if you're only buying one? Or will you buy both? And what games are you most excited for this generation? Tell me in the comments below. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like or the dislike button corresponding to how you felt about this video. And I will catch you guys later.